We are live.
Mr. Billy.
What's happening?
Man, for me, May is here. May is here. And it's been a road, a very exciting one. I always love this, the build up, but for me, it is all about May 24th. It is all about that day.
Yep.
And so I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
Let's talk about that a little bit. So,
yeah,
May 24th, the TAL Southern Region they've dubbed that one the Combat Armed Sports Classic, and that is going to be accompanied by Corey Miller Super 64 on the 176-pound class, right hand.
Right, and we are looking at what. So we're kind of talking about this a little bit before we started, but Frank Callahan was telling me that there was maybe a couple people that had dropped out of that, but it would look like we were pretty full. So almost a complete 64-man bracket.
Yeah.
That
up, Jose.
But
yeah, so we're pretty close, right? We're still tapping at about just under right around 60.
Yeah, 60 people for it, but it sounded like there were some fatties, maybe.
Well, yeah.
But you're gonna have
it's like the eyes are too big for your, type thing. It's like, some of these guys are not 176ers, and I'm kind of looking at it, and then I think there was a few that did drop out that weren't going to be able to make it.
Yeah, which I thought was kind of fascinating, but I think, like you said, there's a couple of people that were in there that I was like, I didn't even know you pulled in 76. Most of their ranking is, but they may have pulled once or twice, and
yeah,
their ranking was around the 1500 area, but they typically would pull 98. Or I think there's even one guy in there that looked like mainly he pulled 220s, but
yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, a lot of people. I don't know if this is the biggest, but most people confirmed before the actual day, but it's kind of sounding like that was the case.
I know I can't remember if it was. I think it might have been the 242 was pretty close, but I know when Corey held that, I know Frank jumped into that one. I think even Michael Edwards, maybe jumped into that one. So there were a few last minute additions to kind of help fill it. But I'd have to go back and look, but that one might have been the closest one. I know we know the 198 wasn't close. The one they did out in Washington.
How many did they end up with that one?
I thought it was
like they had a pretty good crew for it, but
I think that was 28 or 30. Nathan, do you remember that?
For
how many guys? Didn't they have 28 or 30 in the Super 64 198 in Washington?
Yeah,
super low, right?
Yeah, somewhere around that.
All right, so y'all are on your way to Istanbul. Where are y'all at right
now? We're in Toronto. We'll be hopping a plane in an hour and a half to London, and then London to Istanbul.
Hell yeah! Awesome. Let's go, Jocelyn.
She can hear you.
Let's go, Jocelyn. Let's go.
I can't hear her.
Oh, you can't hear.
Oh, it's probably maybe he's got his AirPods in or something.
We both have one.
Yeah.
Well, tell her we're rooting for her.
I can't hear you.
How about now?
There, now we can
hear you.
Oh, okay. So it's just the one AirPod.
There you go.
We're rooting for you. Let's go, Jocelyn.
Thank you. Yep. Yeah, it's a tall order, short turnaround, but we'll try our best.
You got it.
Yeah, it was kind of quick.
Well, originally I was told it was supposed to be June in Chicago, which was a good amount of time that separated the two, and then found out a week after I got back from Texas that it was actually Istanbul in May, and I was like, okay, so we've got 4 weeks of intense training, and the cards are going to fall where they're going to fall. but
Yeah.
I'm as strong and as ready as I can be at this point. So
Fuck yeah.
Well, I mean, this is not to take anything away from Sarah, but I mean, you didn't get too beat up at EVW
no,
Arlington, so
no, no. Even that
yeah,
third round, a lot of people like to bring up that round, but I'm like, I don't think y'all understand that I was very comfortable and smiling at Sarah, and I was staying there until either she gave up or I found just an easy thing.
yeah.
Kind of like
Well,
those practice pulls and practice, or you give a little leash and let
Yeah.
things go. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think women in general were just not used to pulling in a hook either. So it's kind of like my time to just sit there, get comfortable, build up the endurance piece too, right?
yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, even for that round, like, because I was on camera 5 looking at you that round, and it felt like she had a little bit more bite, but it wasn't anything. It wasn't anything that, like, I would say, or I can understand people saying that there was any danger.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I overshot it just a little bit. I was a little bit impatient, but I was able to, come back and get back into the position that I'm comfortable in for that. So
100%, 100%. Yep, we're looking forward to it. I mean, we're like Traken said, we're rooting for you.
Thank you. Is this a prediction show or no?
No, it's not a prediction.
It has been, and maybe it should be.
Yeah, I haven't even. I know the card at EVW at King of the Table is super badass, but like honestly, I haven't even paid too much attention to it. Like I know your match, and really there's a couple other ones, but I haven't really even paid attention too much to it.
For sure.
I know.
You got any barn burners you want to give to us, Jocelyn? Anything? Any big predictions? Any upsets?
I'm going to be very interested in the Matt Mask and match.
Me too.
Very interested. Just because of like the size difference, right? And a lot of people think that the frame is just going to do everything, but I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. And they're entertaining, both of them. So
yeah. So the frame might be bigger, right? But I mean, the leverage difference, creates a pretty interesting, matchup there.
Yeah.
So
it's a
like,
compelling argument.
Can the frame overcome the leverage, or vice versa? And so, definitely.
I'm excited to meet a lot of the people that are going to be there because some of these arm wrestlers I've never met, like Ted Hutchins. I've never met him. Monster Michael Todd, never met him either. So just a lot of big names in the house that I'm excited to meet formally and pull alongside.
For sure.
How are you feeling about? I remember talking to you. I think it was the day before. How are you feeling about the being in front of the big lights, the camera? How did it feel for you when you got up on the stage at this last one at East versus West?
So for me, there's always one voice that sticks out, and from competition to competition, it will vary on whose it is. This time it happened to be Nathan's voice that stuck out, which was probably a good thing.
Okay.
But everything else just gets canceled out. And luckily with Arlington, I couldn't really see the crowd, right? Because the lights were all on the stage and I couldn't see the crowd. So that was helpful to work down the nerves a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I just ignored it. If that makes any sense. It's like tunnel vision. So
yeah, that's what was it Matt Mask? He was kind of talking about that just recently with Coach Ray, where he didn't have too crazy of a match himself, where he was really having to like he didn't really get in a huge war, but he was like, but it's a quick turnaround because like maybe I didn't pull hard, but like you show up for it, you train for it, you're showing up for it, you're talking to all of these people, and so it is a match, even though and so quick turnaround. That's what he was saying about that. So I was interested to hear what you had to say.
Yeah, and it's like you train for your opponent, right? Like obviously, knowing and pulling Sarah, I trained for her. We made a plan of attack for her. And there was nerves, obviously, and especially with the social media side for me, that was a lot to just take on, was just everything that came at me from her social media and um, even afterwards with the comment
Yeah.
section in the YouTube. Um, but yeah,
Isn't it a
I don't
weird
know.
thing? Isn't it a weird thing, right? So I had
Mhm.
this like random thought the other day, right? So going back to what exactly you were talking about, there's the huge conversation that people that are that are making was the weight discrepancy, right?
Yeah.
Right. Oh well, it's not so bad because Jocelyn's so much big. Anyway, it's stupid. But and then
Mhm.
then fast forward to this ladies round robin, right?
Mhm.
And it's like I get it, right? There you could go either way, the 0.2, 0.4, or whatever like that. But it was like people are like, well, that's not a big deal. Da, 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 da. So it's like, does weight matter? Does it not matter? It's like I don't think people can really make up their mind.
No, I think it just comes down to the people are defending their champ, right? Whoever it is. And I
Sure.
can understand that, right? You're going to defend the person who you wanted to win or whatever. You don't need to attack the other person, though, is the only thing. And
No.
I don't think that weight factors a huge amount when it comes to the women. Maybe it does in the men. I don't know. But it
Yeah.
just depends on how you train your arm, right? Like I know that my left is not as strong as my right. And so when Fia beat me last year, and trust me, I have never stopped hearing the end of the fact that Fia beat me on the left. And I will
Yeah.
take that lump and that's fine. But my left is not my dominant arm, right? And same thing with this ladies round robin. You got Danielle, who came in at 154.2, and she destroyed all of her heavier opponents. So there's an
Yeah.
argument to be made for the fact that, um, and this is the thing that I hate so much about the weight discrepancy is like when the smaller person beats the bigger person, you will never hear about it. Or if you do hear about it, it's all, oh my God, did you see what this person did?
Yeah.
And it's exciting and everybody talks about it. And they're like, oh, well, being the bigger person isn't always a factor. But then when the bigger person beats the smaller person, it's like, holy shit, hold my beer,
Yeah. You're
right? Like it's,
discredited because you should have beat them because you were bigger.
yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
And now
and that's
it's
the
like
thing
the
too.
rumor is steroids now and everything. And I'm like, yo, I got my 350 bench raw.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing too, right? So it as you work up the ladder, and it's been proven. I mean, as you
Mhm.
work and you get higher in the levels, the weight becomes less and less of a factor, right?
Absolutely.
Depending upon the level of opponents, right? So you've
Hmm.
got, I mean, classic. You go back as far as John Brzezinski. You can go to Todd Hutchins.
Yeah.
These guys that are even for like Todd traditionally for a long time competed in the heavyweights and higher because that was the only place he could get competition. Because so like when you factor in Sarah,
Hmm.
I mean, she's up there in the top 5, top 6 ladies and across the
The
world.
world. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's in it, whether she might be the smallest one of them all.
Hmm.
She's at that top level. So I mean, those
Hmm.
factors, she could put her up against a mid-level pro that's of your stature, and she'll
Hmm.
smoke them.
Well, in the
You
weekend
know,
before, point in case, right? Winter Blast, you look at, she went up against an opponent that was bigger than her, similar in size to
yeah,
me in stature, and destroyed her on the left.
yes,
Are
yes.
we talking about
So
that? No, we're not.
no, man, we're gonna be quiet about that one.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
So
anyways, it's
I do want to ask while you're here, Jocelyn, if I could, how
perhaps.
how is the training? How does the training for you differ? You have basically a month to train for another person completely. Like
Mhm.
what? So, and you said you're training for that person before, so you're training for Sarah, and then now you
Mhm.
have a 4 week window. What has
Yeah.
the what does that window of time look like for you? Well, like how have you treated that?
For us, it's been more the endurance piece. So it's been a lot more arm wrestling days, right? We went from 2 to to 3 and are slowly building, the endurance to be able to go through the arm wrestling and not burn out, as opposed to, just trying to go for numbers and go for more weight, right? Which I'm always striving for more weight, but it was more being able to endure on my tendons and everything. Because I don't believe this match is going to be easy. I believe
Yeah.
that we're going to have a couple of wars. Well, I hope
Yeah.
for a couple of wars. Because it's hard too for me because I'm not used to being in a war situation where a lot of guys are used to the back and forth of a pull, will say, but there's not many women who are able to compete at the level that we're at that can give me the work that I need. And so that's what I'm kind of hoping. I'm hoping for a good match.
Yeah. So does that look like static holds for periods of time, or is it just strictly on the table going through the motions for
there's both dynamic and some static. There's a mixture of both in the program. So
okay.
yeah. I'm developing my ace, right? Which I don't want to give anything away, but yeah, trying to work on my ace, of course. And because I'm more proficient in one move than another. So working on that, getting that strong, but then also working on plan B and plan C, because we got 3 shots.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. What do you expect out of her? Do you have any?
Probably like a high hook situation if I'm looking at anything like Sarah and everything like that there based on that match. I'm thinking her high inside is going to be her ace.
Yeah.
And you feel like you got the answer for it?
I think so.
I think so too.
We'll test it out. We'll see.
Well, cool.
Well, either way, I don't think, obviously a win would be fantastic, but even a loss, I think here and a good showing doesn't set anything back,
Yeah.
I think
it's hard when you hold yourself to a high standard.
Yeah.
Right. It's like I would take a loss hard, obviously. And it's funny because Neil said the same thing on his podcast. He said, it's a win either way here. And I'm like, yeah, but it's hard to hold yourself to that standard because you always think, I'm never going to get another shot and that kind of stuff, right?
And you don't want to be in that mindset either going into it. It's okay. No. Yeah.
I got a lot to learn, right? Like I'm still green and, with Worlds coming up this year, like I've got a lot to learn. So I will only improve over time, but I'm hoping to have at least a good showing.
No doubt.
I think this is it.
No doubt.
Well, I'm super happy that you were able to stop in and chat. That was an unexpected, nice surprise.
Yeah, no, very unexpected, but nice to talk to you guys.
Thanks, Josh.
How long's the flight?
Like a flight to London's going to be 7 hours, and then London to Istanbul will be 4. Okay. So we'll get in about 5:20 p.m. Istanbul time tomorrow night.
Okay. And then you got the whole week to acclimate.
Tour, eat.
Yeah.
There's going to be lots of good food.
Yeah. Well, cool. Y'all have some safe travels, and we'll be, like I said, we'll be watching. We'll be rooting for you.
Right. Oh, thanks, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Well, that was cool. Yeah, there's a lot. There is a lot of really good matches for this card. It's super good to hear from her in that regard. But
yeah, I had to modify the programming for these 4 weeks and add in some stuff that I normally wouldn't put into a workload leading up to a match with such a short turnaround time. So, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I know her numbers now are more than what they were for Sarah, and her work capacity is higher now too. So it's never a bad thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Well, we were just talking, Nathan, about the Super 64 plus the Arm Sport Classic coming up here on the 24th. Are you going to be there for that?
I will be.
Yeah, are you competing in the Super 64?
It depends on how my arm feels after the 17th, because I have nationals in South Carolina the weekend before.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I can't
hey,
sorry.
go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say I can't get too fat and happy on this trip, so I have to make 75 kilos in a couple weeks.
Yeah. So about that, so, and I know you know a lot of the inside stuff, so that's why I'm going to
Mhm.
ask. What do you think about this partnership with the WAF affiliate and IFA affiliate here in the States?
They're partnering up.
Well, yeah, I mean, so like they've announced this deal that now, of course, this is one thing. There's a lot of stuff that people don't know because the misinformation is pretty
Well,
crazy when it comes to this stuff out here. But
I
so
must be out of the
domestically,
loop.
okay, so domestically, you've always been able to compete at both nationals
Yes.
as long as you haven't touched a world stage yet.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so that's never been a thing, but a lot of people have a misconception of whether or not you can go to USAF or you can go to IFA or you can go to both. You've always been able to go to both.
Well, there's also a misconception about like if you have a super match with somebody that's, you know, an IFA person and you've never been to a world where you get suspended by WAC, which is completely not true. Like
Yeah,
you can be a WAF puller and an IFA puller and they can have a super match and there's going to be no repercussions as long as it's within the United States. Now, if you were to do that match in Canada, which would be international at that point, then there would be a suspension.
Yeah, so there's some international play and then stuff like that. So anyway,
Yeah.
like they appear to have kind of collaborated and they've gotten this belt and stuff like that, and it says IFA and it says WAF on it, and you know you get the belt if you happen to win IFA nationals. If you went to IFA nationals this year and you won it, and then you go to USAF nationals and you win that one, then you get this belt, right?
Well, here's my question, not to cut you off, but how is that
Go ahead.
possible when they're not even close to the same weight classes?
Well, I mean, there's you know there's those technicalities as well, right? So you know but I'm guessing they're doing it across the board. So if you just go win a class and win a class, maybe. But here's the other thing. So, like on the flip side to this, right? Regardless of what happens here in the States, I think we all can agree that internationally, I don't think WAF's budging on its affiliation with IFA.
No, I don't think there's a chance in hell.
So here's the kicker, right? Here's the scenario I proposed the other day. So I'm like, this is how all this works out. So you go, let's say let's say Trayton. You went to IFA nationals this year. You haven't touched any kind of stage on a world stage level and anything. So you're a clean puller at this point. You go to IFA, you win your class, right? Mm-hmm. You go to USAF, you win your class, you get this belt. All right. Now both organizations hang their hats on their nationals, being it the direct path to a world stage, right? I mean, they're throwing nationals to get the worlds, you know? All right. So hypothetically, you get at that point, you get to choose. You're clean puller, you won both nationals, right? You're on team, you can be on Team USA for either one of them. You just have to choose at this point. So let's say you go to IFA, right? You get the $1,000 from Bob Brown and them and all this other kind of stuff. Okay, buddy. You go to IFA. You compete on the world stage. Well, guess what? You don't get to come back and compete at IFA anymore. So this is a one and done deal. So let's hypothetically say that you choose the other route. You go WAF and you go to WAF Worlds. Now you become a WAF athlete.
Yeah.
At the end of there's no end of the road. There's no goal at the end, right? It's just so now we're just back there. Now it's just back to nationals. As long as you compete domestically, then you don't have anything to worry about. But when their tournaments are like, well, you go to worlds, well, you really can't.
Yeah. I think for me, let's speak hypothetically and say that I'm at that level and I go and compete. Number one, the thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to compete at the one that makes the most sense for me as an athlete.
Sure.
Number one. And then number two, we're at a point now where, like, if Laugh or whatever says that, well, you did this, so you can't do this, I'm going to go, okay. You know why? Because that's your loss, not mine. And, you know, I'll talk to Trey Johnson about just, you know, getting blasted on Flashpen. And I'll just go there and do that thing. You know, it's not, is it the same? No, but it's like there's so many avenues now that you can go with different promoters and getting your name out there. And, you know, especially with Aries, like if there's no doubt in, you know, who's the best and belongs to be on that stage. And if you're going to block me from being on the stage because of some, you know, there's what, like, that's their loss at that point, in my view. I think it's all silly and stupid to.
Well, I mean, my thing is there's a couple, you know, cliff notes. Like, what does it benefit you to go to this one and then that one? Why can't a national be a national where everybody can pull? And then you have your IFA and your USAF world qualifier. Like, you don't need it to be a quote unquote national to qualify. I mean, look at Canada. Canada is a great example. Like, they have their provincials, they have their nationals, and then they have their qualifiers to go to worlds. Yeah, like their nationals mean something. They'll be 700 plus pullers. Hell, there was just 700 pullers at the Quebec provincial. They just had,
and that's unrelated to the, like, you can win nationals and not go to worlds. You have to go to the qualifier.
Yeah, you have to go to your provincial to go to nationals.
But then, so if you win nationals, that doesn't guarantee you a slot in the worlds, right? You still have to go to the world qualifier.
Yes, like their national actually means something. Yeah, their national means something. It's national. Doesn't matter.
What organization or promotion is overseeing Canada's
CAWF?
CAWF.
Yeah. Canadian Arm Wrestling Federation.
So that's an offshoot of like a WAF, right?
No, CAWF's its own entity.
So when they hold
which one is Joey part of? The TCAF is the WAF affiliate.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So TCAF holds their qualifier for WAF World, and then you have your IFA one. But like I said, their national means something. You know, their provincial means something. That's your pathway to a national. Whereas ours is you show up and you're like, oh, here, I can pull.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just like our national, I'm sorry, doesn't matter if you win IFA nationals. It doesn't matter if you win USAF nationals. Like, it doesn't mean anything, because are you pulling the best people in the nation? No.
Yeah.
You're pulling the people that showed up that day. Right? Like, it really doesn't mean a whole lot, in my opinion. Like, is it cool to be like, yeah, I won a national championship, but like, okay, you won a national championship, but who'd you beat?
Yeah.
Right. So,
well, do you think that, I mean, here's the thing. So we, here in Texas, we used to do the challenge fees for the rankings matches, and that money went towards trying to support our top pullers to go to nationals.
Yeah.
Well, I've discontinued that, because in reality, nobody goes. Like, nobody really goes to nationals anymore. Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have this huge split. Like, USCF has extremely poor turnout, right, for their nationals. IFA, and even though the entries aren't too bad for, you know, but for a national, like, is super low still.
Yeah. I mean, what they have this year, like 400?
Yeah, it was something like it, 400 some change, I think.
Yeah, with the sheer amount of arm wrestlers around the United States, and I always think that, you know, people make up that, but, well, there's not as many as you think. Like, a national share of over 1,000.
Yeah.
Easy to be over 1,000.
Yeah, and we could do that here in the States, right? You know, so that's what I'm getting at. Is for me, I feel that regardless of what people talk about and everything like that, the split is really the key, right? You've only got people that are devoted to USAF going to USAF nationals. You only have people that are devoted to IFA going to IFA nationals. But if you had something different, right? When there was no affiliation.
Yeah.
And nobody had the fear of being blocked on the back end or banned on the back end or anything like that. Like, which is, I'm segueing into the American Unified Arm Wrestling that we're going to try to get kicked off. You know,
like I said, I think it's a great thing, honestly, but you know, it's still until the powers that be decide to, you know, I'm not saying, I mean, I still don't understand what the belt's going to accomplish, if I'm being honest. Like, okay, you went to both and won. Like, okay, well, what does it accomplish? Why couldn't you have won a belt at Unified Nationals? Right?
Yeah.
Just call it, you know, USA National. There you go. Everybody's happy. You don't put a WAF picture on it. You don't put an EFA picture on it. Nothing. You know, your referees are neutral. You know, they just wear a ref shirt and everybody pulls. And then you have your, you know, your WAF qualifier and your EFA qualifier. And at that point, guess what? Yeah, your line in the sand is on. But when you're doing this event, when you're doing the national, hey, it's cool.
Which is kind of where we're looking at, and I think, you know, whether the other half likes it or not, I think that those will in people's mind become qualifiers, whether they're called nationals or not, right? So if we can get this started and we can kick this off right, I think that they're not going to like it, but I think this is going to be your new nationals if we do it right and we can do it. I think this is going to be your new nationals, and then those nationals will only be considered qualifiers essentially for whatever path that puller wants to take.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it should be, like, if I'm being completely honest. And then, like, I still wish there was a way that people, like, that a state title meant something still. Because in reality, a state doesn't mean anything. Like, you know, in order to go to a national, you should have to qualify. Maybe I'm just hypothetically speaking, obviously, top 3 in your state for weight class.
Yeah.
So if you figure that, you'd have what 3 times? You have 15 people that are there, and then you purchase by or whatever something, right? Like your top 3 automatically from your state get a buy, yada yada, at one state, something. But there needs to be incentive for people to come to this event, right? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't see going to, like, the belt thing. I'm still going back to that. Like, what's the belt gonna do? Okay, so you got a belt on it. Like, if you win the belt at Louisiana State, you got to take it back. Do I got to take the belt back?
Sure.
You
get to hold it for a year.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, that, I mean, you're onto something there, though, right? You're onto something there. Like, if you could get all the states to have something like a state that carried some value to it, like that would, like, enter you, you know, create a pathway into a nationals or something like that. But the problem is organization level on that would be massive. Not every state has a state championship.
Yeah, exactly.
So that means also now that means more events, you know?
Yeah. And then you have too many hands in the cookie jar at times too, right? So
well, I could tell you that one thing that we've all agreed on with the AUA, the American Unified Arm Wrestling, is that there's no hands in the cookie jar. You know, in the sense that nobody's taking a paycheck from this event that we're planning. We've all got our own deals. You know, it's myself, Bill Collins, Sean Hancock, Ryan Grondin, and Mikey Olivia. And, you know, we all got our own organizations that we're running right now. And,
for sure.
You know, we've kind of come together to try to pursue this idea. And we've all agreed that, you know, we're in it for the event.
Which is honestly how it should be, right? Like, you know, like for me, there has to be, like, okay, like we'll use the Ottawa Open, for example. Like, I'll be at the Ottawa Open this year. Why? Because I want to be. Like, it's the Ottawa Open. It's one of the biggest events in North America, outside of Canadian Nationals or like the Quebec Provincials. Like that's the biggest event in North America. 700 plus entries. You know, you win a bison. Plus, like, Eric does things too where, like, even if you're American to win it, he'll help you pay. He'll pay for your nationals for you to like compete at your nationals,
Oh yeah.
which is cool. Like, he does it for Canadians to pay you. He'll, like, if you finish top, if you finish second, he'll pay for your provincials. If you win, he'll pay for your provincials and your nationals.
Yeah.
Plus, every win gets you $5. I know, like, oh, it's only $5, but still, it's something, right? Like,
Yeah.
like,
So here's segue into that, like that idea, right? So I mean, I always have a ton of ideas that are running around in my mind all the time. A lot of the questions I asked is, it's like, it seems like it seems like you almost have a good gauge on what the pullers are kind of leaning towards and what they want, and then they throw you for a loop and they start going a completely different direction. So like the thought the other day was, is $500 at Texas State something that may continue down the road? Like maybe the evolution is not $500 at Texas State. We still have Texas State, right?
Yeah.
But maybe that money that's allocated towards the end of the year gets dispersed to do more at the regular events, right?
yeah, which would be
So
a
like,
good thing, right?
if you're doing that, like $5 a match, or particular payouts at our regionals, or different awards, or maybe it goes into actually paying for venues. Nothing changes, but we start paying for venues. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of things that could be done. Like, for me, like, to get people to an event, there has to be a pretty thick incentive. Like, why do people go to Michigan State? They want that gorilla.
Yeah.
Why do people go to the Ottawa Open? Hey, it's the biggest tournament. It's prestigious as hell. Plus, they want that bison, right? So,
Yeah.
the quicker that tournament builds and becomes prestigious, the more people are going to come from everywhere and want to compete in it.
Yeah.
Because it's not a national per se. It's just going to be a super big, sick, prestigious event in North America,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah. I don't know. These ideas run through my mind all the time.
because it would be great to have the best Canadian pullers come down, the best Mexican pullers come up, the best from North America, all the best from North America in a melting pot in one area competing.
Yeah.
So
Anyway.
yeah, it's definitely something to look forward to, right? Like, I mean, I have the way I feel about one side and the other side. And I think one side does things kind of, I think the other one does things that are kind of, but
Yeah.
It's what it is.
Well, moving forward. So Trey, we got the Super 64 and the Southern.
Yeah.
After that, what's next on your radar?
We gotta go talk to the data attendant.
What's next on my radar is going to be Flash Pen 3. Later, Nathan.
What about
Yeah.
So Flash Pen Productions.
Yep. End of the fray. I won't be competing in that, but I love these events. I've competed in the first two. I'll be there supporting it, and there's a lot of good matches. I don't know if everything is released yet as to what
Nothing's released yet.
Yeah, the card looks like, but it's definitely a banger. That's for damn sure. Super looking forward to that. But yeah, first and foremost, the end of this month, man. I mean, the whole plan for me going into that is like, getting through the Super 64. And then I'd love to pull left-handed afterwards. And so it's going to be quite the challenge, but I'd love to pull left-handed in the tournament after that. And that's just kind of the person I am, but it kind of ties into what you were talking about a little bit ago. I think that Corey is on the right track as to, if you're trying to figure out what arm wrestlers want, this is something that you can look at and go, as an arm wrestler, especially if you're a 176er, we were talking earlier about how there's some people in here that are you know, they're not really maybe 176ers, but you know, I think for a lot of these guys, like you want to pull in a tournament that with people like in a perfect world that are rated close to you, and these tournaments like this will only make the ratings more true. And you want there to be a reward for winning, be it whatever it is, but you know, you want to be able to compete you know, at your highest level. And there's a reward at the end for the best man, and you know that you have a shot, because you're not going to show up to, for me, for instance, I'm not going to show up to the southern qualifiers and Giannis is there. you know,
Yeah.
like I can see the bracket. I know who I'm pulling. I know that they're rated in or around where I'm rated. And for me at my level, it's cool. That's a cool thing. Motivating.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I guess, you know, in essence, so I know that Tim Talmadge is now introducing the semi-pro classes to Arizona State, and
the semi-pro classes.
Yeah, and the reason I think he did that was, the reason he stated he did that was because, you know, he likes to bring in a lot of the Swedes, and he has some, you know, high profile super matches, stuff like that. And you know, most of these guys enter the tournament, right? So they're entering the tournaments and stuff like that. And you know, people can get a little discouraged. So I think Tim's probably looking at one. I mean, I've always said, you know, the more when you add classes like these, I mean, they're going to increase it because you're going to have people that are double class and stuff like that. So that's going to help with the tournament and everything. But, you know, it may give some of the lower level guys some opportunity to do well in the tournament when they, you know, so they're not competing in the pro class with, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8, you know, top level guys.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think that's fascinating. I think that I think as a promoter, I'll ask you this because you have been in the game for a while.
mm-hmm.
I think ultimately everybody has a overall goal of what they want to see for the sport, because we've all cumulatively came together and everybody wants to build the sport, and the sport is being built. That is very, very much happening. And now I think one of the questions that I have is like, what is, as a promoter, what do you want to see? How do you want your tournaments to look like? What are your goals, you know, outside of that, outside of growing arm wrestling? Does that make sense? What do you want the tournaments to look like? What do you want to see come from the athletes, the arm wrestlers, the pullers? In a perfect world, what would you want them to want?
Here's the thing, and I'm a little bit backwards. So we have all these people running around trying to grow the sport, right? You know, you got the Tim Talmadges going out and doing the bicep bash with WWE and all that kind of stuff. And I have an opinion about all that. You've got EBW, you know, you got King of the Table, you got, you know, all these things, and they're growing. In my opinion, is my honest, they're growing the sport, but they're only satisfying a small margin, right? Because at the end of the day, and I don't want to try to, I'm not like throwing shade or anything like that, but like hypothetically, let's take World Series of Arm Wrestling, right? Greg Sharp.
Yep.
Oh, we're going to put it on TV. Look, let's just be real. The average person that doesn't know much about arm wrestling is not going to sit down and buy arm wrestling episodes on Amazon for $3.99 a piece and watch arm wrestling sitting on their couch.
Right, because you can go watch the WAL, which is how everybody gets involved anyways, for free on YouTube.
Well, I mean, there are other options to watch it for free. I'm just talking about the idea of watching the sport like that, right?
Yeah.
You got to have the people that watch the sport have some sort of investment in it, right?
They got
have
skin in the game already. Yep.
Yeah, they're either arm wrestler, right?
Yep.
Or they have a friend that's an arm wrestler, or they have a family member that's an arm wrestler. Like, I don't see a high percentage of people just not knowing anything about arm wrestling, like, oh yeah, I'm going to sit down and watch this, TV show and stuff like that. So here's the thing. I think that these things are good in a sense because I think they're ahead of schedule in a sense, right? So they're creating this entertainment level at the top. Right now, all it's doing is entertaining us arm wrestlers. Let's be real.
Yeah.
There are some people out there, don't get me wrong, that are watching it that don't have any affiliation. There's a percentage, right?
Yep.
It's just not very big. The most viewership they get out of this is someone invested in arm wrestling somehow.
Yep.
My thing is, we need numbers. So, like when you look at airs, right, and you talk to Corey, and you think about the number of arm wrestlers that are registered in airs, and there's a fraction of error there with people that haven't competed in tournaments and stuff like that yet, but around 6,000 people across the United States. That's not a lot at all, dude. Like, not a lot at all.
Right.
So I was talking with somebody the other day, and I was like, take adult men's softball, right? Not on a professional level, just a recreational sports league, city league.
Yeah.
It's like, how many people do you think are playing softball on the weekends across the U.S.?
A lot, probably a real large amount.
Few hundred. Yeah, like we're talking about hundreds of thousands of middle-aged men playing softball on the weekends. Nobody's watching that on TV.
Yeah.
Right. And I think I looked at it. It was like the United States Softball Association. They have there's a ridiculous amount of teams and there's a ridiculous amount of players, right? Mm-hmm. So my thing is coming from a sport that I recognize, even though some of these other people don't recognize that they're like the general public is not ready to just sit down and watch yet. Nobody's found the winning formula, obviously. We need numbers in this sport. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Let's just hypothetically say that one of us stumbles across this big sponsor, right?
Yep.
And we're talking realistically. And I go, all right, hey, let's just take the American AUA, the American Unified Nationals. So we're gonna be leading into basically certifying promotions, and stuff like this under the AUA and sanctioning tournaments. And if I could go to a big time sponsor, like huge sponsor, and go, look, from the East Coast to the West Coast to the North to the South, we have certified promotions that are going to advertise and promote your product or service or whatever like that across the United States. Every weekend of the year, there's going to be somebody promoting it at an event somewhere in the U.S. Okay, well, what's the outreach there? Well, it's 6,000 people. Give or take a few thousand if they bring their wife or something like that, or maybe a friend. Now, imagine if I said that same thing and I'm like, there's 300,000 arm wrestlers in the United States.
Yeah.
You see what I'm getting at? You see the difference that could make to a sponsor and saying, look, your outreach is 6,000 people or 300,000 people.
Yeah.
Like, so at the end of the day, we don't need people to sit down and watch our sport if that never takes off. If arm wrestling just continues to be as boring as people think it is to like the general public, right? And when nobody finds this winning formula, what can get us to the next level is numbers.
Well, I can tell you that I don't think that the winning formula, which is what blows my mind, I can tell you what I don't think the winning formula is. And I don't think that the winning formula is telling people that they can't compete in your tournament because you competed in a different tournament, or telling athletes that. Like,
this is true.
It seems to me that your whole vision of what we're doing here. It's all about you and it's all about the promotion. Well, if you don't have athletes and if you don't have good pullers in your promotion, it doesn't mean anything anyways. I think that the ticket or the winning formula is by having a promoter that is neutral grounded when it comes to other promotions and whatever they're doing, because it doesn't matter. The focus is how do I build my Stone Cold Steve Austins, my Undertakers, my Kanes, my Mick Foley's. How do I build my athletes? Obviously we need better athletes in North America too. We need better arm wrestlers in North America, and they need a way to get built. I think Corey Miller has a great vision on how to do that, and he's doing it now. You are in complete and full support of what he's doing. Clearly, we'll see, May 24th. That's what we're doing. But it's like without the athletes, so I just think it's so silly to me.
Yeah.
Like without the arm wrestlers, you don't have a promotion anyway. So it's like, I don't think that I can tell you, I don't think that telling people that they can't compete in whatever you're doing. And I think honestly, getting involved in any of that conversation in the first place, or like any bashing here or bashing there, and who cares? Like, what are you doing? What I want to be a part of the TAL. I want to be a part of Aries. That's where I want to be a part of.
Yeah.
That to me is the best. I have the best opportunity for growth, I feel, and that range. So that's where I want to be as an arm wrestler.
Yeah. So I guess, and what I took a long story in, and is, so for the TAL, and I don't mean this in a bad way, in a sense, like the TAL will never have like the tippy top prestigious events. We're not going to pay thousands of dollars to bring in high level guys to have super matches and stuff like that. We might have one every now and then. The TAL vision, and I think Texas has demonstrated this like perfectly, is creating a system of events that are consistent, like a league, right? Hence the name. Like if you go to any city league, sports league, rec league, you've got a season, you've got all your games laid out, and you compete, and it's a rinse and repeat. And this provides a stable platform for new pullers to come in and enter the sport, right?
Yep.
So the TAL will always be, consider it a farm league, right? Like like the idea from TAL, the model is growing the sport from the bottom up. We want to cultivate a system that allows people to come in, get involved in the sport and work their way up. And then they could branch out from there and go wherever they want to. They can stay in Texas and compete in Texas events for the rest of their life, or they can continue to train, get better, go on to different avenues, travel to other states, get on an EVW card, stuff like that. The sky's the limit. But these other organizations, like I said, no shade at EVW, but they're trying to grow a fan base, but there's no avenue for new pullers to get involved in EVW. Right. So that's what I'm saying is like, they're good in the sense that they're basically, we have entertainment once people get into the sport. Like now we have that, but at the end of the day, there's nothing coming from the bottom up with EVW or any of these other people that try to throw these highly prestigious events. These are entertainment events for the people that are already involved.
Yeah, well, and kind of devil's advocate, but you see, like, let's say for instance, Jocelyn.
Yeah.
She's green, but like also top of and we just saw her at a TAL event. Another example would be like Cody Wood or Hunter Knopf's, who we get to see compete in Arlington. Like, and that is where I'm saying, like, what promotion did they compete in order to get to that like to get to East, or did they just make a name for themselves because they're waxing everybody at tournaments that they're going to, and Ingen is going, let's give them a shot. Let's get. And I think the ticket is just like, like you're saying right now, like just give the athletes, give the arm wrestlers a stable platform for them to compete at, to grow, to take their licks, put some notches in their belt, and then
move on.
Yeah. And and I know Trey Johnson with Flashpin, that's what he wants to do. He wants to help build from the ground up, just build the athletes. The center is the athletes, and build the athletes, give them a platform to have, a higher level match that maybe people want to see. And give them that kickoff, that boost off into the next big thing for them. That's the winning thing. It's like all this other stuff seems just silly to me. Like,
but that's the key, right? That's the key is the buildup, right? We have anomalies all the time, right? We have people that come in, that walk into the sport, they and they just blast off, right? And they just completely bypass all these other steps. And then we have a lot of people that like are still 2 or 3 years in, still learning a lot. You know?
Definitely.
So it's like if all you had running around was EVW style tournaments and all these high prestigious tournaments and stuff like that, and you really didn't have any kind of area for these arm wrestlers to cultivate themselves,
right?
Like say a Texas Arm Wrestling League or a flash pin where you could learn and have access to building your brand as an athlete, a bit of promotion there, and stuff like that. And I think that's the key. I think
the promotion gets built off of the athlete as well.
Well, sure.
Like there's just so many people that, if you say that you're from Texas and you see them, like you 100% know that they're affiliated in some fashion or another with the Texas Arm Wrestling League. And sometimes it will be brought up numerous times. Like it will be brought up because that person is being showcased at the time. So it's
like even in Canada. So Nathan was telling me the other day, like he went to Canada and he was wearing a TAL jersey, and people automatically knew, Texas Arm Wrestling League, So, and that's music to my ears, really.
Oh yeah.
And look,
out of the arsenal, we have a whole bunch of people from Canada and the Ottawa High Hookers and stuff that are tuned into what we're doing. Everybody's got their eye on things. And what is the saying? A rising tide raises all ships.
Something like that.
Yeah. And that goes to say for the arm wrestler to the promotion, or the promotion to the arm wrestler, everybody gets a lift from that.
Sure. There's benefit to everything, right? And then we need these different levels of events, right? So
but
that's the thing. But everybody seems that, there's always this like
everybody wants to own it, it seems. And it's like, own what? Own what? IFAW, like most arm wrestlers don't even know about like that.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of guys in it don't, and then now you guys are throwing stuff out there. Well, if you compete in this, say you're in it for 3 years and you go compete in this, you can't compete in this. It's like, there's a million other tournaments that I can go compete in.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like, there's a trickle effect to these things, right? And like you said, having something good happening over on this side of the country can have a trickle effect to what happens, in another part of the country. So like going back to your deal, when you have somebody come out and say, look, if you go to this event, I'm banning you, or I'm not preventing, I'm not allowing you to compete in my event. You make that event smaller, right?
Naturally.
Let's just take Winter Blast. I mean, we're talking about the elephant in the room, right? Greg said what he said, and it undoubtedly lessened the number of entries at Winter Blast. There were people that didn't go to Winter Blast because they were scared about being prohibited from competing in that promotion, WSA promotion, which made it smaller than it was the year. Now, how do you think that affects like the 98% sponsors, right? So you're trying to grow, right? And then they might have a sponsor that might want to get involved in another area of the country.
And
So all these things, all these things, can affect each other. So I don't know. I'm like this.
Yeah, and that's why we love you, Billy, because you are worried about what you have going on, and it's so
I'm worried about all the boring shit. All right.
Yeah, the semantics of it all.
Yeah. Like I can really dull up a conversation here.
Yeah,
with all this.
Man. Yeah, and I don't know Ryan Grondin. I know of him, but for me, I don't know him. I know Greg a little bit, but I don't really know him all that well either. I've competed in one of his tournaments, never competed in one of Ryan's. But lately, because I follow the 98% crew and I'm a part of that page because there's a huge following there and there's a lot of arm wrestling going in there. I'm like having things pop up on my page that are about Greg, and I'm like, and some movie that he's doing, and that's
arm break. Yeah.
Yeah,
of
and
all the things you could do.
Well, I mean, sure, but at the same time, I don't care, man. Like, if Greg Sharp is making a movie and he's calling it the arm break, like I just want to see what you're doing, Ryan. Like, what are you? I don't care what I really don't care what you think about Greg Sharp. I don't, and I don't care what Greg Sharp thinks about him. I care about arm wrestling. That's ultimately
that's true. And I have these conversations all the time, and I'm like, that bee's hive doesn't need to be poked.
That's well. It's for somebody like me who I don't know Ryan. It's like I just care about arm wrestling, man. Like I care about that. Like I don't care about the drama you got. And so I don't know you, Ryan, but just as a neutral grounded, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth to see it because I'm like, I'm worried about arm wrestling. So anyway,
yeah. Well, that's why the promoter and arm wrestlers they arm wrestle. Let the promoters worry about all the politics. But unfortunately, it trickles out into the arm wrestling community. So, but anyway, moving forward. So, Flash Pin Productions into the fray. All right. They've got some really cool things going. I'm not exactly sure what the exact format of these are. So the birth of the Flash Trials, these are going to be like 4-man. I don't know if they're going to be brackets, if they're going to be super match style brackets, round robin-ish. I don't know the exact format, but I know they're 4-man groups that are going to be competing in this. And there's a few weight classes, 2 or 3 different weight classes that they're going to do.
Yeah.
I
don't know what is allowed to be talked about and what isn't, or if it matters. So I don't know. I don't know in that regard. All I know is that from what I have seen thus far on a personal level, I'm very excited for it. I am very excited for it, and yet another great, I'll call it, card put together by Flash Pin. Will be very exciting. A lot of energy going to be in the house for this one. I'm super, super excited to even be there and be a part of it.
And it's going to be free for this one on YouTube, I believe. Right?
Is that right?
I think that's what one of the posts said. It was going to be free. They're not going to. Yeah, they're not going to do a.
I think that's a hell of a move, though. If that's the case, I think that is a hell of a move.
Well, I mean, they had a few. I know they did pay-per-view. I know they did pay-per-view.
The last one was Flash Pin.
Yeah, after the last one, and I mean, I think it did okay considering what it was and stuff like that. But Flash Pin, even though this is like 3 years in, They're
Yep.
still like heavily trying to build the brand.
Well, it'd be within like a year or two, yeah, something like that. Yeah, definitely. Agreed. Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think that it's taken off just yet, you know, but they're definitely, you know, Trey Johnson, Dustin D. Woody, you know, they're really trying to put in the work to build the brand, the exposure out there. And, you know, hopefully eventually it does take off. I know one thing in my personal opinion is, and I know that cost is a factor and stuff like that, but you know, more than one event a year is, I think, kind of extremely important.
Yeah. Let's see here. So this is what it says. It's what I'm seeing on here. So it looks like it looks like there are tickets available to be on on studio. So
Yeah,
we have
VIP, yeah.
VIP tickets. There's only 40 tickets available. It looks like they're $150 per ticket. What it looks like you're getting for that is going to be watch the matches up close from 12 to 3. And then there will be an after party after poll at 8 p.m. where all of the athletes will be. Looks like VIP swag, drink tickets are going to be included in that. So it sounds like it's a whole day long sort of gig.
So $150 per ticket.
$150 per ticket. Yep. And so there's 40 available. There's 40 available for it. So that's what I'm seeing thus far.
Yep. But June 14th, that's going to be a good one for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, Trey and I both will be there. So
it looks like man, I wish I could talk about the matches that are being on there, but I don't know if I can or not. So some of the ones
it hadn't been released yet, but they, as the flyer did say, there's going to be a heavyweight super match, and I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, sure. I know that there's a 4-man in there that it looks pretty fun too.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway,
well, for me, we've got May 24th, Southern. All right, we got that coming up. But actually, this next weekend, I am.
And I want to say for May 24th, it sounds like we've got a lot of pretty much like it sounds like most of our team is going to be there for the tournament afterwards. We've got a couple of new guys that are planning on showing up for that too. It's we're probably in the 10 to 20 range of people that are going to be competing from our end at the Arsenal there.
Nice. Well, and in that, you know, you take the Super 64. I mean, I would hope that at least all of those guys at least pull left, maybe some of them pull right, depending upon how far they get within the Super 64. You know, that's already another 60 people right there. You know, so this has the potential to be a really.
I think it's going to be huge. I think we're going to have that place is going to be massive. I just think with some of the people that are showing up, even for the 76, the Super 64, I think it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
This looks like a Robert Kelly situation here at Flyer Design.
Yes. So this is what I've got next. So next weekend, me and Lucian will be taking a road trip to Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a really cool thing. So every now and then I get to take my little promoter hat off and, you know, participate in some extra events and stuff like that, not as a promoter. So I'll be one of the head refs for this event that Robert's putting on.
Oh, okay.
So
super cool.
Robert does a really different layout.
Payouts for pro by class size. I see. So okay, so it goes up based upon how many entries are in the class, but every class will have a payout for, is what I'm gathering here, with a 3-pound clothing allowance.
Yes. So there, you know, like I said, there's a different format here.
That's okay.
Yeah, and then payouts are based on entries for the pro classes only. As you can see, he actually considers the open classes what would be considered like a typical amateur class.
Mr. and Mrs. Dustin and Sky. Howdy.
Oh, there they are. What's up? Yeah, so really cool. He does it's triple elimination.
Triple elimination.
Yep. Triple elimination.
Okay. All right. So the pro classes are 160, 190, 220, 255, 256 plus 3. Interesting.
Yep.
30 pounds, 35 pounds. Okay. Well, that looks fun. I like the payout for every class. It's always cool.
Yeah. And a different rule set as well. So he does like what we would consider a set grip, close your thumbs, close your hands. He also does running fouls. Dustin, the AMs is what they
open, I guess, huh?
Yeah, that the AMs will be basically the open classes. And then you have what we consider to be what we call open classes or the pro classes. So
well, I am a huge fan of the set grip. Are
you?
I am. I am.
I'm not.
I think. Well, I will say this. I think in a super match format, yes. I don't know that. I think also I would be in a tournament format as well too. I just think that.
So I would tell you this. I'll tell you this. Right. It is a quicker, but it's looser. Right. So there's going to be things. There's going to be a lot of stuff. Like I did one of these for Robert already. And it's just one of those things where you kind of, there's only so much you can now blatant movements, carving, stuff like that, rising that are really crazy.
Dustin,
but the problem with,
sorry, Billy. Dustin, you can jump in here if you want. Billy posted.
Oh yeah.
I can message you.
Yeah. If you got the link, if not, I can, I think I could post it again. But yeah, it because both competitors are closing their hand, there's movement already. So, it's I don't know. I'm not real fond of it. I'll ref it. I think it's it's a different thing. So I'm not. I mean, I don't have any other opinions based on that. So if somebody wants to run it, cool. But the Oklahoma tournament that I did, just like this for Robert, I mean, didn't have a ton of entries, but it was a triple elimination. And, it runs pretty smoothly. But at the end of the day, there's just going to be a lot of jostling around and the grips and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not the same as your standard, IFA or WAF, rule sets. But
yeah. But you would say that it's quicker to do a set grip.
Look, at the end of the day, yeah, it can be, right? It depends on it. I mean, you can get really stupid with it, but I think you're going to end up I think you could run the risk of making calls that are kind of a little unwarranted in a sense.
Yeah.
Because, both guys are being allowed to close all their own things, right? So there's going to be movement in there, I guess, in a sense you're going to have to kind of disregard.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to make that split judgment on whether or not advantage is in that, right? When that happens. But if you can get two guys that are fairly agreeable, they walk up there, they put their hands together where they're supposed to, close your thumbs, close your hands, that match is off and, pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think going into it, for me anyways, I'm just a huge fan altogether of it, but just going into it, especially if I know the ref, like if I know, for instance, Marcus is going to be my ref, I know that Marcus does not give a shit about anybody and all he cares about is just making sure that, even maybe sometimes too much, but making sure that it's a fair match. He wants to be the best ref. He doesn't care who wins. He has no skin in that. He wants to be as good of a ref as possible. And though sometimes it doesn't end up on my end or on my side, as far as how he goes. I know that that's how he is, and so I like that.
But that's good, you know.
Yeah, and but yeah, I think like Dustin was saying, people they'll
But people will cheat.
yeah, they'll be a fixin', that's for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, that's coming up next weekend. Then we'll roll right into the Southern, and then one other really cool thing. I got another invite to head out to I think it's Grand Valley, Arizona on November 1st. So let me bring this up. Share let me bring Dustin back in here. Left.
Good. I'm
What's
glad
up,
Dustin's
Mr. D. Woody?
I'll be
What up?
right
What up?
back. I gotta feed my pups real quick.
Oh no.
Yeah,
no,
I think the set grip thing is really fun. But I think it's really fun if you have, like, in the amateur setting, it's probably great. But as people get good, it just becomes this jockeying for position. And almost every match, you see a wild amount of pronation, guys that like to pull outside. They're already like in it.
Yep.
And that's super frustrating to watch. It's cool with two
I
guys
can
that are
tell
going to
you.
hook.
Yeah. I could tell you, like in Oklahoma, the most difficult thing that I had were the space between the thumbs of the guys.
Of course,
guys were wanting to literally be like this.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And it was difficult to even get them to hear. Like,
Yeah. It'd be interesting if maybe you had to set up with like your thumbs kissing. Like,
yes. Yeah. Like completely together. Yeah.
yeah, if you flatten the thumbs to each other and that was part of the set grip, that might really benefit that. Because yeah, guys are just like going back to Devin and WAL time frame. Devin is fully loaded and outside, and the match has not even close to begun. And then they're like, go. And it was like wildly blatant to watch.
Absolutely.
But part of the game, I guess, in that realm. And everybody just kind of got used to it. And it was entertaining. I think it's fun. Like, I'd pull an event like that for sure, but I feel like I can take advantage of it.
Sure. I mean, having different events is cool.
So. I wish I understood the reason to call something open and something pro and to not call something AMs. Maybe it makes people happy.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure Robert could give you his reasoning on that. Yeah. I mean, open is open. I mean, it's that's really it's a melting pot of everything. And I'm sure that he's considering the pro classes pro because they're winning some sort of, cash.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, this is the next event this is the invite that I got. So Raymond Cody, he's the guy that used to own Crunchy Crush.
Yeah.
He's run events back in the day and everything like that. He took some time off, everything like that. He came back, really super into the 98% brand. If anybody caught any of the 98% podcast last night, what Ryan has decided to do is basically franchise the 98% brand out.
Yeah, I saw he was doing that. He posted about it.
Yeah. So
I like the wording. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but in terms of how he's trying to create a path for athletes to get matches, and I mean that's really the answer. I mean that's what I hope you and all those guys together are putting together a way, to filter people in and get these guys that think. I actually like to use the term "think they're really good" matches more so than I'd like to use the term the unknown great guys.
Yes.
Because there are way more hyper delusional arm wrestlers. And that's fun. That's super fun.
So this is like exactly what you're saying. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the winners of these maybe the pro classes or the overalls or whatever they're doing. I'm not going to quote it, but some winners out of this tournament will get a chance to have a match under the Arm Gods brand.
Yeah, that's cool. That's fun.
Yeah. Of course, a lot of payouts there. The 8,900 is what they're basically the minimum right now. I know that Raymond talked on the podcast about trying to get more to up those out, to up that up. But yeah, I got the call and they asked me to come in and head ref it. So November 1st, I'll be flying out to probably Vegas to drive down to Grand Valley to head ref.
How you getting to the Oklahoma event, and when is that?
So that one, so Robert lives in Arkansas now, basically. That's in Arkansas. That's in Hot Springs. And I'll be driving there.
How far is that drive for you?
I think it's like 9 hours.
Fuck.
Yeah. That's the crazy thing. I can drive 9 hours to Hot Springs, Arkansas, or I can drive 8 hours to El Paso.
You're telling me. Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all are welcome.
So cool.
But hey, look, I hope. I mean, I'm hoping and praying for a great turnout. I'm hoping we get some different people from New Mexico, Arizona.
Yeah, it'll be
Colorado,
exciting. It'll be exciting to see all those guys come out for sure.
On that end, and after, like I said, after we do this, we're bringing it back home, to San Antonio. So
cool.
2026 and beyond, well, they'll be set for San Antonio currently. So
yeah, it's great. Fantastic. Super central, easy.
Yeah. So, yep, this is the next one we're coming out. I'll be heading out to on that one. Like I said, I get to take my promoter hat off, and
that's got to be fun though.
It is.
Less stress. Just go and have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's like I wasn't even like this. I went up north, to the northern, and I kind of left, and I was like, man, I had a few weeks off. I didn't even have table time. I missed a few practices. I know I'm a little heavy, so I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna set this one out and chill.
Yeah,
and didn't do that. Actually showed up. Like I ate whatever I wanted to eat on the way, thinking that I was actually going to be over. Showed up at weigh-ins and stepped on the scale, and I think I was at 244.6. And I was fully clothed, shoes on, hat on, everything. So I started taking the hat off and took the shoes off, everything like that, and got down to like 243.8. So I was like, yeah, what the hell with it? So I'll pull 242.
Have we talked Super 64 yet?
Yeah, we did. But if you want to add something to it.
I'm excited. I hope anybody who sees this that competes at 176 makes their way there as an open puller, because that left-handed class will be fucking righteous. It'll be very, very cool. There'll be so many guys. Like when I went to Washington State and they had their 98 one there, it was such a pleasure getting to pull with a class, that deep, and just so many guys. It's a long haul, but it's a fun battle.
So me and Corey were actually talking about this the other day, and the potential, as long as everything stays exactly the way it is now, right? Nobody drops out, everything like that. The potential for that 76, at least the left, maybe the left hand, maybe even the right hand, just depends on how guys do. Being over a 30-man bracket.
It will be.
Yeah. So I mean, we've already talked about, the fact that we're probably going to have to create 2 brackets, or we may just have to run another Super 64 bracket.
Yeah.
For that class, it's going to be crazy.
It's going to be fun. It's really cool. Yeah, that'll be it's going to be a cool event. I'm probably going to come up and compete. My right ring finger, ever since Dan, I can't do any containment at all. So I'm kind of, he did something to my ring finger. It's soft tissue damage. Like I can't close it. This finger
won't. Jammed?
Yeah, it will not close. And
well, Well, that's why you contain from here.
Yeah,
Not
and I
you.
do anyway. So, but it's like when you top roll, you kind of sometimes will end up getting in there, or even
Yeah.
when I clamp down low and I clamp down on those fingers here,
Yeah.
I can't cup like typically I'll walk with weight and like walking with 130, my hand can't fuck with it right now.
Nuts.
So if I can like practice though has gone pretty well where I'm kind of learning to deal with it and kind of
Yeah.
cruise around it. So it'll be a good way to tell if I'm going to be able to keep going hard this year. So
Yeah.
I think for fun, I'm just going to go throw it in,
Sure.
see what happens.
4 months
Yeah, exactly.
for Colorado.
Yeah, I got to make
Yeah.
sure that I can't show up to Colorado with it all buggered up.
But
No,
you're
you don't wanna
showing
do
up anyways, even if it is, right?
If I leave that tournament broken, no, I wouldn't show up. I wouldn't throw myself into a fire.
Going to? I missed that.
Say again.
Which tournament were you talking about going to? I missed that part.
The Super
Southern.
64.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, I'm going with all you guys anyway, so it's like if I got to pull, this will be fun.
Yeah. And Trey Johnson's going to be pulling too, right?
Trey's pulling too. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about
Yeah,
Frank? Frank has a super match.
Frank has a Superman. Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
He's excited too. Feeling like
I love it.
on
I
the
love
planet
it.
right now.
he's pretty excited. I tried to get him to put some money on it, but I couldn't get him to do it. But I'm
Yeah.
excited for him. He's
sure?
he's pretty pumped up right this second about it all.
He sure is.
He's looking a little heavy too. He's looking a little heavy right now too.
Uh-huh.
No, don't let the picture fool you. He's actually the lightest he's been almost ever.
Really?
Yeah, you actually see some definition in his muscle now. You see some muscle separation
Mm.
going on now.
Yeah, that picture's really funny though, because I know exactly which one you're referring to.
Yeah.
And when he sent it to me, I was like, "That's not your weight. You're really light." He's like, "These mirrors are crazy."
Okay, gotcha. Well, look, hey, I wouldn't put it past him to bulk up to 242 though. You know?
Yeah, right.
Well, no, they're pulling 220, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's gonna.
Hopefully we didn't give him up there, huh?
He's coming in ready for sure.
Yeah. Well, I know that his opponent Trey is seems to be pretty confident.
Yeah. Is that the only super match that's happening for?
Yes.
For that? Is that
currently.
just the one? Okay.
Yeah. And really, I mean, I it's not that
Even
I'm not going to
that's
say like
enough,
huh?
Even just that one's enough because there's plenty going on during the day.
Well, yeah, because we're hoping that the Super 64 we're able to kick that off right when we need to, and then it ends in enough time for us to get a couple things situated and roll straight into the tournament at the regular start time around 1:00. But if it for some reason seems like it's going to drag out, we may end up having to start the actual tournament on like 2 tables while they're finishing up the Super 64 on, like in the finals and semifinals on 1 table.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So
there's so much interesting there. They ran a full bracket in Colorado before. Full 64.
yeah, I think that was the 242, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it was a full one then. The 242 was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they
We're
ran the
talking about
tournament. They ran the tournament too, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Now, the question was asked. We were speculating, like the 198s. There was only like around 30 in that one, right?
Yeah.
In Washington.
Yeah.
Yep. My bracket on left hand, no, on maybe left hand. Yeah, it was 28 guys.
Yeah.
For the Super 64 though.
I'm saying
But
that
you're just comparing the two.
yeah, I'm comparing the two because most of them pulled left-handed.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
There's a couple guys that pulled right even after the tournament too, right?
A bunch of them. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
If we got 60 guys in that 176 class, there are going to be a bunch of guys that are going to go 0-2, 1-2.
Fuck yes.
and they're gonna be out. So entering that
I
right
mean,
hand,
these Super 64s are so cool because it's this middle of the pack. You have guys that think they're the greatest 176er no one's ever heard of.
yeah.
It's going to be spectacular.
So speaking of that, so Luna is at the top of this list now.
Yeah, 1600.
Yeah. All right. So this is a guy I was talking to Corey about because he didn't have enough matches to get him in the initial list. Like I had to talk to Corey a couple times about getting him in there. And then like all of a sudden, tournament. And now he's like, I almost wanted to call him and say, look, you might want to think about stopping.
Yeah, I was
Take him out of that tournament.
He's good enough that
No,
I
no,
was
no.
just teaching Trayton how to beat him.
So that's a really cool thing about Corey is that so once you get in there, no matter what happens, everything adjusts. So even though Luna shot completely up, he's number one, right, in the or number two or whatever like that at the top.
Yeah.
But everything adjusts to that, right? So he doesn't kick anybody out. So everything just the brackets and everything like that just continuously adjust. So once you get in it, you're in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was seeing that conversation and I'm like, yeah, please do not take him out of there. But I mean,
No.
and he opened up on me at the Central qualifier. So his opening to entering the basically Aries was like on me. I was like, dude, I need some redemption because I didn't remember him, but I remember after the tournament we were driving home and I was going, oh, that was because Dustin Laughlin came up to me at the end of the year bash and he was like, hey, I want you to pull with this guy. And then after so I pulled with him at the end of the year bash and I thought to myself, like, good God, this fella is a lot. And but I didn't remember him at the tournament. I did not remember that little moment that we had there. Not that it made a difference, but it was just like
Yeah.
But
so shot up, I mean, like really quick.
Man, he's a strong dude. He's a very strong dude. So I'm looking forward to being able to pull with him again. He's on the other side. He's on another bracket on the other side of the tournament than I am from me. But I'm hoping we'll get to match up.
So on top of that, though, I think I told you earlier, I think before. So in kind of a little small gesture to kind of recognize and help promote airs and like the recent update they just had with the being able to track what your actual score was per event, right? Whether you were plus or minus in that event.
Yep.
What I talked to Corey about doing is on the TAL side, I'm going to create 3 awards to award the 3 highest point earners from the Combat Arms Parts Classic, the tournament.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
Yeah. So.
And I mean, I don't know what that looks like, but I feel like the likelihood of that being the top 3 guys at the end of the tournament.
Well, here's the thing too. That's kind of it. I thought about that incorporating the Super 64 to that, but I think I'm just going to do it on the tournament side in a sense because you got the 176ers are going to get so many more matches, than the guys in the regular tournament.
So, okay, I misunderstood then. So the idea will be the highest earners on points for the classic, for Armed Sports Classic.
Yes, the tournament. Yeah. Now, I that's not to say that maybe we don't do something, but I mean, and also in my mind too is like the top guys in the Super 64 are already competing for something really cool.
Yeah, I was going to say there is plenty to go around as far as reward incentive for the Super 64.
So I was gonna try to focus more on the actual tournament side, and of course the Super 64s they're competing for the money and the additional prizes and stuff like that Corey gives out. So
that means if somebody can come in and beat the Woody, the likelihood of them getting that reward is probably pretty high.
Probably pretty high.
And I really need them to show up so I can beat them and get the reward.
Right?
Because I'm stuck having to beat a whole lot of you just to get enough points to even get an award.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's the problem when you get too high.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, sure. I
This
mean,
is
yeah.
the attitude, Billy. This is what we're aiming for. That's what
I don't know. I think, let's see. I think I jumped up pretty good on this last event, even though the competition wasn't particularly. I got to pull Ronnie. That's always fun.
You know.
I always love pulling Ronnie.
Speaking of pulling Ronnie, can we speak on that 4-way fucking Fatal Fury we're gonna have?
Yeah,
So-
well, yes, please, because we didn't know how much we could talk about,
Yeah.
or we were talking about it earlier. So yeah, definitely.
So first event, I want to go back and clarify. Our first event was January 2024. And then this one is, it looks like we'd like to be doing 3 a year. So we'll roll into this next event and then start gearing up for the next one, hopefully soon after. And this one is to kick off a new series that we're going to call the Flash Pin Trials. So without saying too much, I'll dive into couple of the classes because I want to keep on wraps a little bit because I think as we release, it's going to be pretty cool. But we've got Tucker Keaton going against Nate McCowan, which I'm super excited about because I think Nate is the truth. I've thought it since I saw him arm wrestle Nick when we were in Lubbock some years ago, and he was 300 pounds.
Yep.
And I said, man, if you get real in shape, you might get smaller, but you're going to be stronger. And he's like oddly built for arm wrestling. And now that boy cock swole diesel.
Mhm.
And they're going to compete at 253. And it's him and Tucker. And Tucker, I don't think is the truth. Tucker really is the truth. Tucker shows up and wins.
Yeah.
And everything you've seen, you throw things at Tucker and he just kind of gets up there, lets the fury go, and then smashes. So that's a cool event. That one's gonna be fun to watch.
Yep.
But then we got the Flash Pin Trials. And I'm really, really excited about the 154 guys, but I'm even more excited about the 209 guys.
So real quick,
Yep.
I'm gonna interrupt you real quick. Explain to us, if you can, what the format for this trials thing is.
So absolutely. I mean, I've played it out in every way it could go at this point, so it's dialed in terms of playing with brackets. But the way the trials will work is 4 men will enter, 1 man will leave. We're going to give arm wrestlers from anywhere the opportunity to throw $200 in the ring, and it'll be a winner take all event. So what will happen is, let's go ahead and talk about the 4 guys that are in the 209, and I can describe it through that.
Okay.
So in the 209, I think we've got pretty much breaks. Come here. Sorry, my dog is eating a mushroom, and I don't know if it's okay. So the way that'll go down is it's Ronnie Morales, Caleb Ricks. All right, guys. Ronnie Morales, Caleb Ricks, Cody Haga, and out of left field comes Ryan Carter,
Ew.
making 209. And I got to tell you, the swagger from Carter is out of control because he's like, yeah, these guys are dead. He's like, it's not even close. And I've been telling him, like, you got to make that weight, man, for a minute. And here he is throwing himself in the fire. And I don't think the fire gets much worse.
What's
So
around that? Do you know?
like 218.
218.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I can coach you through it, man. I want to see you there.
Yeah.
He's the reason I have. He's the reason I have to pull 189 and 198. It's guys like him. The height, the lever.
I believe that's about what Ronnie weighed in at the Northern, was around that 217, 218 mark, I think.
Perfect. Yeah, it's perfect for him. It's another class that's perfect for Ronnie. And I think Ronnie's the truth. So as Ryan's telling me how he's going to topple Ronnie, I was like, oh, okay, let's do that. And I don't know that he's wrong. I mean, I got to be unbiased in my approach to how I'm going to talk about it. And it's tough when I've competed with everybody and it's like, oh man, this is going to be This is a wild one.
Yeah.
And Cody Haga, who's probably the underdog of this, wanted the match so bad.
Yeah.
That level of excitement for him. I mean, he's been so true to us. He won his last match against Mike. So
Mhm.
Michael Zamora. And it's like, yeah, we got to get you in there, man. Let's do it. So he's getting a shot. But the way it works is it's going to be triple elimination, not a traditional bracket. If you think about the 4 men stepping up, let's just say it's Ryan Carter and Ronnie first, and then Caleb goes against Cody. Those guys will all collide. Winners will go against winners. Losers will go against losers. At this point, if you're undefeated or you're 0-2, you're still in it. And there's only one hand left you haven't touched. All the have not touches will then go against each other, and the bracket will start over again until there is only one guy left.
Ooh.
Mm.
Right? So all hands will touch, a lot like a round robin. But the way it's not like a round robin is, let's say 2 guys go completely undefeated and just smash everybody. At the end, after they've been through the fire, they're in a super match.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. And I think this is how I know, actually, this is going to be the bread and butter of Flashpin going forward. We want to do something cool for the winners. The winners are going to get a shot at either a top 15 guy. Like, we think if you're like a top 15 guy, and that'll be up to a board of us to figure out if, you make that, not necessarily in the hook or whatever. You can bypass a flash pin trial and get that shot at the winner of a flash pin trial who becomes the champ. A lot of names in the hat already for those guys that win, which is interesting. A lot of guys want to throw in and get after that. I think another fun thing we're going to be able to do is we're going to be able to give a lot of guys the opportunity that have done really well in their region or where they live, their state, and give them the ability to throw their money in and come do what they say they're going to do and take it all home.
Yeah.
It gives everybody a shot at a good payout. And everybody will pull everybody as well. So it won't be that you never got in a war with so-and-so. No. You're all going to fight.
Yeah.
100% guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the 209s are really exciting. I'll review one more class. We've got 171 and 154. The 154s are all ranked guys, and all of them are hungry. And then there's one wild card, who I think's a junior vice champion in Iskandar. And I think Iskandar also won states. He killed everybody at 154, right?
Did he win state? I think he did.
Yeah, I'm 99 point. I mean, if he didn't, it's because he didn't pull 154.
I can't remember what he was. I know he had trouble making weight.
Oh, interesting. Because he pulled 71. Hell, he pulled me. He pulled 98s. Or he pulled 76.
I think he actually, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think he pulled 54s. I think he pulled 76s and 98s.
And he was super under. Yeah. That makes sense. Well,
he was a little off on the 176. He had to go do a few laps around the building.
Interesting. Well, he says 54 is his spot. So here we go. It's him, Cameron Williamson, who's number 1 out of Louisiana. Just beat,
right?
He did win state.
Yes, that's Iskandar. Yep.
He beat Michael Metzler, which is kind of a under or heard of fella.
So that was.
Yeah, he had trouble making 54s, but he made it.
But you said he won state? I got 2 losses here on state. And 2 losses on the right hand on state.
Iskandar Mustafayev?
That's his name.
Yeah. I see a year for 154, 5-0.
So he did pull 154.
Yeah.
Okay, so then he won the 154s.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then just pulled every class he could because he's a fucking maniac.
Yeah.
So we got Cameron Williamson, who beat Roman recently in a tournament.
Yes.
We've got and he's hyped up. That dude's incredibly excited. I'm super pumped for him. We got Kalen Gilstrap, who's a bad boy in Texas.
Excited to see him back. It's been a
Me
minute.
too. And I don't think he's pulled 54 in some time. And seeing him come back to 54 is, does he stake his claim, right? That's
I'm
exciting.
just gonna say it because I can say what I want. You can't. He's gonna steamroll, and I'm excited.
Oh, you're going with Gilstrap kills the whole thing.
I'm going Gilstrap, taking everything like a raw venison eating fella that he is.
Yeah. So you got Gilstrap, Cameron, Iskandar, and Jake Fussell. Jake the Freak Fussell. I know people just
I can't
don't
wait to
even
get
know.
my boy, though.
And it's like the thing about Fussell is if he shows up, man, he can just be a bad day for anybody at any given time.
Naturally, one of the most naturally gifted arm wrestlers. I mean,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
The
I can't
last
read against
time,
the boy, so I'm gonna take that back and go all in on Fussell because I love him and he's
the last time Gilstrap pulled was in 2024, 154s, right-handed. And that was at, I think it was over in Colorado at Corey Miller, one of the Super 64s. He pulled Isaac Luna.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, he pulled Little Luna. Yeah.
Yeah,
Man,
that was
boy-
the last
And he
time.
won.
Here shows him pulling 154.
And he beat Luna, which was nuts.
Whoa.
Yeah.
He's
Super
in
well.
such good shape for that match too. Like he looked like a 98er and
Yeah.
that
That's how I expect him to show up to this. So
yeah.
he's pretty pumped up. He hasn't pulled in a while, so he's ready to get it rocking. Yeah. So we'll run those. We'll run 3 of them. The next event we'll probably do 231, 253, and the unlimited class.
The what?
What
Open.
would be the open class?
The open. Okay.
Open weight.
Yep.
So get in where you fit in type of a deal.
Anything over at 253 and up, but I mean anybody can
I
bang.
see what you guys are doing there. You don't want me to compete at 242, 231. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing there.
Yeah, we want you to be fitter.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I can make 231. I can make 30. I can make 231.
Yeah, it would be like a perfect class for you because you'd be tall in it.
Yeah, I would be.
Man, I was thinking Billy at 220.
231 is more achievable.
To be completely honest with you,
You're a coach. I'm a dreamer.
it's been some years, but I'm really not. I mean, obviously, I'm 43 years old, so I quit growing a long time ago. But muscle mass wise and everything like that, it's back in 2009. I got below 200 pounds. I was at like, I want to say it was like 6 point. I was like I was 6 or 8. I doesn't know. It was like 8% body fat.
You were just a scrawny boy.
Oh my God. It was, yeah. So, but 220s, it would be, it's achievable. It would take some work for me to get there, but
Yeah, that's a
231
that's a child ago.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And then some. But yeah, it's I'm definitely couldn't be more excited. I think everything's in place. Yeah. We're waiting on one athlete and the 171. And if he's a go, that's one direction that's really exciting, and I can't wait to announce. We also talked about the winner of the 176 Super 64, maybe getting a shot at the winner of this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, or making him a guy in a future one, of course.
Yeah.
I think that feeding, like if one of these guys shows up and shows out, a match with Corey Miller in the future, maybe.
Yeah.
You never know how it's going to shake out. But you got a bunch of guys that want to prove themselves. And we want to bring guys out, from all over and give them a chance
So
to show what's up.
here's a little interesting little wrench thrown in. So Bob Brown has canceled the John Brezink Classic, John Brezink Cup.
I saw that.
All right. And Corey usually goes to that to run brackets and run the event and everything like that. Frank Callahan usually goes to that. Now, I noticed that it was actually originally set for the 8th. Well, Texas State is the 15th. It's usually on the same weekend. So maybe just maybe, we might see a appearance from Corey Miller at Texas State.
That would be really cool. Yeah. Really cool.
I mean, really, short of anything happening, it doesn't make sense for him not to come to try to take home $500 in whatever class he could pull.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, he'll pull both.
Seeing him compete too. Just in general, I love watching Corey compete. I like seeing him active.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I really want to line up him and Austin Tevis.
That's a good one. That's fun.
Yeah, really bad. I'd like to see them go head up.
No shortage of guys in the 76 area that are, like you were saying earlier, that are looking to prove themselves.
And I'm telling you, there's no shortage of athletes that want an opportunity to throw money in and walk away with a payday. As I put this out to the world, the response back has been phenomenal. And there are so many. I wish I could get everybody in, of course.
Yeah.
But we want to. We built this to be fast, entertaining, and keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Like the way I imagine it playing out is bringing them all 4 athletes out and starting the arena right then, and then we'll keep that battle just ripping along.
So have you played this out in your mind to see like maybe a time limit of how long each one of these things might take?
Yeah, we're thinking like 45 minutes to run the 4-man at Triple Elam. And I think a really sweet spot for events, especially when we're putting it out for everybody to watch, and this one will be free for everybody. 3 hours.
Question. That's good to know. Okay, so you can just tune in on YouTube.
You'll be able to just tune right in. Oh yeah, this will be all about getting people's eyes on the sport and helping the sport grow and helping these athletes get their name out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
What is the what's the scoop on is the plan set grip?
No. We always do ref grip.
Or rest grip, rather. Sorry. Rest. To me, that's what I meant.
Yeah, it will be a ref's grip. Another little thing I'd like to do in this event, and I don't know if we're going to do it yet. You know, we're talking with Marcus, who's the head ref. I would like Marcus to be the face of reffing for Flashpin, and him be the head referee the whole time. I like the idea of it. I like that one guy runs the whole thing. And I like the way he runs things is, like you said, his approach to reffing is so much about, I want to be the best ref.
Yep.
I want to look back, and that dude studies tape on himself, and we'll talk about it, and he'll be like, I did this, check it out, what do you think? And I'm like, I didn't even see it. I didn't feel it. I didn't see it. He's like, yeah, man, I should have caught it. No, I mean, you're always doing your best, and that dude sweats himself. Like he's an athlete. Like I would sweat myself if I fouled out. I just ain't never fouled out before.
Yeah.
But if I did, I tell people, like, don't let yourself down. If you're going to compete, show up to compete, but don't lose to fouls. That would be crazy. And he really takes the same approach to reffing. I love that attitude. But we want to grow refs too. So it's like, give those guys opportunities to get up there.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see.
I don't hate that idea at all.
What's your thoughts on that, Billy?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, the rotation, and it really is kind of, it's not really needed.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it it's no different right now when you go to tournaments and you have, you actually have some head refs or something like that, then those guys aren't rotating off the table generally.
Yeah.
So I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah, I think it's fun, and I think the control mechanism is good.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah.
Right, and like when you're experimenting or you're competing, some of the things you have to have locked down are the things that can be controlled. And having one ref do it, and it was all his way, and he just does it his way, is a good way to eliminate excuses.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I called and talked to those guys.
Oh, did you? Yeah, I was going to talk.
Yeah,
I've heard that quite a bit, actually. A lot of people getting in touch with them.
Well, dude, I mean, First off, since you brought it up, let's go ahead and add it back at IFP, Infinity Functional Performance. So, Glenn Cochran, this is his baby. He reached out to me end
Great
of last
guy,
year. What's that?
Great guy, by the way.
Yeah. Really cool. Super pumped about arm wrestling. Super pumped that, there's an existence of something like TAL here in Texas, and, that he can get directly involved in. And he's really gone out. So on top of, sponsoring the league for the year, any competitor that registers and competes in any of our official events are all qualify for a free 1-year IFP membership that provides exclusive discounts for peptides, hormone, performance recovery, everything like that. Anything you want, basically. He has a lot of resources there in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to personal training, nutrition, everything like that. They're really a turnkey shop for just about anything you need, performance, weight management, anything like that.
They're working with one of our teammates right now, and they're working, I think, with BPC 157 and TB 500 for him. And they do a really cool interview with you and talk about your goals and what you're trying to achieve and where's your weight at, what's your fitness level. It's really intuitive. The dude that runs it couldn't be a nicer guy.
Yeah.
Stand up dude. At that round robin 198, that little event that we went over and shot, he was there, and he actually brought his son.
Yep.
And we got his son on the table with Sky for a hot minute. She worked with him and got him right. It was great.
Oh yeah.
Super cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a huge fan of the sport too, is what he says. Like, he is very happy to be a part of the TAL and be supporting the sport from that angle. And the guy that on our team is dealing with torn bicep, who is already back on the table. And practicing.
I have that video too.
100%, but he's on the table and doing pulls and.
Yeah,
I've been meaning to send Brian that video. I actually have that video.
Oh, of when it popped.
Yeah.
He has it. He has the video.
Yeah.
From
Trayton's point of view. Yeah.
Because we snipped it and we all studied it to go over with him and how to not get in that position to where
and Brian's a super cool guy. And I'm glad to hear that he's back on the table and that this is not a setback for him, because sometimes these things are, unfortunately. And the first thing when he came up with that ice bag on him and everything like that, I said, "You were opened up, weren't you?" And he goes, "Well, not really, not really." And I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh yeah.
So, and then I, as I'm editing video, I come across it, and I was like, that kind of played out exactly like what I had pictured in my mind.
Yes.
Now, of course, that's the thing, is the transitions are crazy. So that guy was, transitioned to that press, and Brian just wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
And he wanted to fight that position, and that's where the bicep goes.
Strong bicep, and that's what he uses it, and
but that's also a danger, right? You rely on that thing so heavy. Look at Dallas Langston. He just ripped his.
That was a weird one. I just watched that not too long ago. That was a strange one. Like, that thing had been just overstressed and underfed his bicep. I don't know.
Well, and that's another thing too, right? Is there's making sure that your tendons and everything like that are in decent shape, that they're getting the proper hydration and all that kind of stuff. And that's what that is kind of where I really hold my hat on the weigh-ins deal. Is we need more aspects like this, like having Glenn and the sport and pushing our athletes and the people that want to become athletes and stuff like that to kind of get involved in these things. Whether you do the peptide route or anything like that is irrelevant. There's a lot of different options out there that they can provide. But acting like an athlete is is super important. So
Yeah,
doing
well,
these
yeah,
things,
sport like this too. Training like one, eating like one, sleeping like one, proper supplementation, all of these things are very important.
yeah. And I know myself, like calling the kettle black. I mean, but it is what it is. I'm kind of split on the deal. So I do the best I can, and I can do better. But at the same token, when I put my promoter hat on, I want the people that are competing in my events and stuff like that to be athletes, to act like athletes, and to really find that value in the sport.
Yeah, everybody should strive for it. I think.
Yeah.
Well,
So
what do you
really
think?
super cool. If you right now, Glenn's got all the registration names, everything like that. There's links on Facebook post on the Texas Arm Wrestling League page. If you competed at either the Central Tournament or the Northern, you can follow that link, fill out the questionnaire. They will get in touch with you, and
Or
you can
East
start
First West.
That was not one.
Well, that's how he got a hold of me, was through there.
Well, sure. Yeah.
I was
Now,
gonna
if he
say,
wants to,
he said to me, he's like, no, this one's cool too. Here you go, man. So
that's totally on him. That's totally up to him. Yeah, because that wasn't one of the agreed upon events. But if he wants to offer that, super cool.
Yeah, really cool guy. My conversation with his company, everything they have is like
legit.
It's primo. Yeah, for sure.
And with those memberships, you get discounts on all that kind of stuff. So
I think you get 20% off for life.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Well, I know the 1 year membership comes. It comes with a 1 year membership, and you get those exclusive discounts. And I know there's some other stuff that Glenn and I have been talking about. We've got to line up and really hammer these things down to offer some other things for arm wrestlers that aren't. It really doesn't exist out there. And so if we can align and get that nailed down, that could be something really cool for arm wrestlers that plan to spend a long time in the sport.
Yep, definitely. Especially anyone who takes themselves seriously as an athlete. These are things you have to think about. And I'm not talking peptides necessarily, but I'm talking about having a coaching staff in your corner that cares about your fitness level first before your competitive level.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a massive piece of the game that a lot of people on the couch don't think about.
And just having the knowledge, just having the knowledge that, like you said, it doesn't have to be the peptide route, but having the knowledge of what that is doing or could do for you and things that you need to work on. Just having the knowledge is great, just in general too. So,
well, let's see what else we got.
I gotta run, boys. Peace out. I'll see you guys up.
Done.
I'll see you guys up in San Antonio. 176ers. Let's fucking kill it out there.
Let's go.
Good luck trading. This is where you break it or make it, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And Enzo on our team thinks the same thing.
Absolutely.
And Luna on your team should think the same thing.
Oh, he does. He does.
Let's go. Do you think he's gonna win it?
I mean, he's going to be. If I'm just guessing off on the top of my head, he's definitely top 5 for sure.
Yeah, it's really, this one's special because it's like one of the North American legends of the sport at this weight, being Corey Miller, is there. And if it was me, man, I'm showing up to kill everybody in front of that dude.
Oh yeah.
Right? You kill everybody in front of him, and then you point at him and say, "I'm coming for the legacy."
Love
it. We'll see, boys. Have a good day.
Later, man.
Later.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Well, I suppose we could probably wrap it up. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I got about 2 hours in. We covered a little bit. Yeah. So
I'm excited, man. A lot of good things coming up, and feels like we're getting into the nitty gritty of summer's opening up and things are about to start getting real again. Not that they weren't before. It doesn't ever really slow down for you.
no, and actually, you know, when it does slow down, I go, oh, okay. There's a little bit of a break, and then my mind starts going, and I start thinking of ways to throw other stuff in there.
Yeah.
So,
How can I do more?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know. I mean, I know we got June 14th for Flash Pin, and then the rest of June is free. July is open, and then we roll into August with the Eastern. August, September, nothing for TAL in September. October, really nothing for TAL, but we do have pulling for special kids that I try to do my best to be involved in and everything like that.
Yep.
And then we'll roll straight into Texas State November 15th. So
Right at hunting season.
yeah, I know.
Right on.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, we could possibly move it back to September
24th.
when it was originally when we come back to San Antonio, because really it's so easy to throw an event here in San Antonio for us, you know.
Yeah, naturally. Yeah.
It's so easy. So it might come back to September. We'll have to put it right back in the middle towards the end of September again. It might come back to that. So we'll see.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for
All right,
having
bud.
me on, Billy, as always. And I'm looking forward to seeing you at the end of this month. It's going to be I'm telling you right now, I don't think it's a hope that's going to be a big turnout. I think it just is. It's going to be.
Yep, for sure.
We're going to have a busy day. That's for sure. You especially, but I'll between filming and competing and it'll be a good day. I'm excited.
Yeah, because I plan on right now with the refs that we have, we'll have I'll have Marcus Tedesco, we'll have Bill Onfrey, Tim Talmadge, Nathan Williamson, and I plan on being in there in a rotation, because the way Corey does the Super 64, there's a constant rotation every round. So so I'll be in the rotation as well here and there on top of that. And I'll have to make sure that I got people running registrations and stuff like that for me. We got access to the venue Friday night. So our plan is to get everything set up Friday night. Everything, banners, everything, turnkey, 100% set up. I'll be there from basically 2 p.m. on Friday to about 9 p.m. We'll be doing our weigh-ins then. Corey will be doing his. Corey Miller will also be running brackets for the event. So it'll just be a seamless transition. Really cool. We're going to really key in on the way Corey does brackets and everything like that. He's bringing his TVs, his screens, everything like that. So my plan for TAL moving into the 2026 season is to transition into screens for bracketing and everything like that.
So, and that includes you don't need to really be like we have Sarah Collins right now calling out for everybody, but now there's going to be a place where you can just go look and and you can see as it's moving along where you're going to be, when you're pulling next, who you're pulling, so on and so forth.
Absolutely. So really the need to call out names will be almost completely eliminated unless someone just doesn't show up to the table. The way Corey's updated the system is that the screens will show a table view. And you just put that weight class on that table, and it gives you 1, 2, and 3. So the matchup currently on deck. The pullers pull up next to that screen like they're supposed to, and when that match comes off that's going, the next ones go up.
Sweet, love it.
So so I plan on
the
making
semantics, like we were talking about earlier. Like these are the things. This is what excites me, Billy. This is the stuff as a puller. The stuff that excites me, that you do, that Corey does, that these are the things that I want to be.
Yeah. And also we'll also almost 100% be transitioning into the seeding of brackets.
I love it. I really do, and I think that the Polars love it too. I'm looking at the Super 76 group chat. You know, everybody feels like they have a run. You know, like they have an opportunity here. They have it's a cool thing.
Yeah, I hear you, Robert. Interesting concept. Here is our live stream guy, the infamous
man, the myth,
Robert Kelly.
Fucking one of the hardest workers, man. Love you, Robert.
I don't know. I hope I don't ever lose Robert.
I hope we don't ever lose Robert.
Yeah, that's I hope, you know, when I cross my fingers and send my prayers up at night.
Yeah,
because I think the live stream is important. I think it's important. I think it's an important aspect.
Man, you watch the qualifiers. I was like hurrying back home, like, let me dump all this footage right now so I can just pop, 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 get through it. But I mean, everybody was going to the live. You know, they went back, watched the live, they pulled all their clips, they did it themselves, which I totally love. I love that they're doing that.
Yeah.
You know, because then they can watch it in a better angle, you know, an up close angle. But everybody loves it. You know, everybody loves it.
I think it's definitely a must. So hopefully we can continue to afford Robert. And but anyway, I think that's it, man. Cool. I'm good if you're good.
I'm good. Excited. As always, fresh, awesome new things coming in the arm wrestling game, and looking forward to the end of this month. I'm feeling very good, excited. So we'll be seeing you soon. Thank you, sir.
All right, buddy.
All right,
later.